Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share your opinion down below. Am I the idiot for ditching my wife and parent-in-laws to see my brother? I, 27M, was having dinner with my wife and her parents. As usual, we only have these occasions once every 3 months as they live far away from us and my wife and I have busy jobs. Me a doctor and her a lawyer, and as such we barely have time for such occasions. In the middle of dinner, as we were talking about work, my phone suddenly rang and I saw it was my brother, 34M, who was calling me. I stepped out of dinner to excuse myself and answered, but my mom and my sister-in-law's voice was on the line. They told me that my brother tripped in the shower and broke his hip and was in the hospital. After hearing this, I quickly rushed out of my room and took my wallet and keys. Upon noticing this, my wife told me where I was going and I told her of what happened. She then quietly whispered to me that my parents waited a long time to be with us and maybe I should go see my brother tomorrow. I always knew that my brother and my wife were on bad terms due to my brother being a partner in a law firm and not offering her a job when she graduated from law school. But I couldn't believe the audacity of her and told her that I'm stepping my foot down and my brother must be really injured, and at the end of the day we can always reschedule dinner with her parents. Of course her parents overheard this and started berating me for ditching last minute and that my brother's injury doesn't matter as he will still be in the hospital bed come tomorrow. In my anger I told everyone to F off and left. I went to the hospital he was in and after my screening test was allowed to see him. Needless to say, mentally he was fine but physically his hip was fractured and needed treatment. When we talked, my brother started apologizing for asking for me as he knew about my plans for today, but I told him that health always comes first. When I came back to my house, my wife and in-laws left. She sent me a text telling me that she had to rethink our marriage if I couldn't find time for her. So Reddit, am I the idiot for leaving? Edit. For those asking, for the reason I went when my mom and sister-in-law were with him was because I was the first person outside of them that he requested for. Not the idiot. And that must be a hell of a rift between them if your wife and in-laws can't understand the need for family. If you do get back together, you have more right to be mad than she does. Now, telling them to F off, that was kind of an idiot move. That you can apologize for, even though I get it. Okay, so I consider myself very close to my siblings, but I wouldn't rush to the hospital over a broken hip. My sister broke her wrist last year and I called to make sure she was okay, and that's about it. This was kind of a dramatic reaction to this, and I wonder if you tend to prioritize others over your wife since she left over this. It's not like he was alone in the hospital and needed support. His wife and mother were there. So in the face of many down votes, I'm going with you are the idiot. Everyone sucks here. It wasn't a life-threatening issue. You could have went to see him later, and your outburst with telling them to F off over your brother's broken bone is just why. Your wife could have been more understanding and compromised with you. Rethinking your marriage seems like overkill unless you're this dramatic all the time. Then I get it. Your in-laws have no business being involved in the discussion at all. Hope your brother heals up quickly and is able to make a full recovery. Am I the idiot for neglecting my mother? My 18F mother has been experiencing chronic pain issues since I was little, due to being overweight. The two discs at the base of her spine have fused together because her back would be awkwardly curved when she stands up. My mother and I share chores. I would be happy to take over completely, but doctors have told us that it is imperative for her to continue moving so as not to become totally bedbound. And at my mother's own insistence we split the chores roughly 50/50, with me taking over more on her rough days. I have never complained about this, except for cutting back on my duties in an exam period, because I know my father doesn't do anything around the house. And when I say anything, I mean the man expects his food to be brought to him, whether that is in his bed or in the living room, and he won't bring his plates back himself. My sister is a university student and as such her studies, in my parents' eyes, are of more importance than mine. That does annoy me, but I just bite my tongue because if I were to say something, I would be stuck in a lecture for several hours. Here's where my problem comes in. After chores are done, my mother expects me to sit with her in her room and talk with her and keep her entertained. This is where I draw the line. I want alone time. I want time to explore my own interests or go on a walk. Just anything solitary where I can do things that I want to do. I'm generally a pretty introverted person, and while I do spend time with her outside of chores, that's usually about an hour a day, minus the couple of hours the whole family is together at dinner. My mother despises the fact I want to be in my room and do my own thing instead of talking to her and keeping her mind off of her own anxieties. Lately I've been starting to feel worse about it because she does genuinely get agitated when she doesn't have anyone with her, but it is exhausting to listen to her litany of issues when all I want is to bury my head into a book. She is starting to get older and her chronic issues are worsening as a result. She talks about how much I'll regret this lost time when she dies. Reddit. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This sounds like another case of parentification on here. Your mom is expecting you to be the mother in this situation. I'm sorry, that's super messed up. 50% of all household chores, and more on bad days, is already a lot to put on one kid. Especially if you have studies on top of that too. This is not your burden to shoulder too. Not the idiot. Maybe your mom would enjoy needlepoint or knitting to occupy herself when she's feeling lonely. Not the idiot, you are not responsible for her happiness or entertainment. My mother used to try this guilt trip on me all the time because I wouldn't call her every day. I'm very introverted and hate talking on the phone. I was busy, have 2 kids, full-time job and doing a master's at the time. She was retired and bored. Am I the idiot for disciplining my stepdaughter? My husband 27 meters and I 24 have been together for 4 married for 1 and I'm 3 meters pregnant. No one else knows about the baby yet. I have a 6-year-old stepdaughter S who lives with us 50% of the time and 50% with her mum. S is a good kid, but there is a divide between ours and her mum's parenting style. S's mum is very rude, who puts S in front of an iPad for 12 hours a day, gives chocolate for breakfast and doesn't believe in manners or basic things like brushing teeth. S couldn't come home to us for 3W due to us having the virus, but when she came back her behavior had got much worse. Last night we were at the dinner table and S kept scratching the table with her knife and not eating. My husband was there too, but on his phone ignoring us, which is an ongoing issue. I was trying to get S to behave and eat something and did the whole if you eat 1 bite of everything you're done etc. She agreed, but a second later lied that she'd just done it. I told her I'd been watching the whole time and hadn't seen her do it, so thought she wasn't being truthful. S got upset, shouted "Shut up idiot" and threw her spoon at me. I looked to her dad for some support. He told me to handle it, which is pretty standard for him. I told her not to lie or be rude, then put her on the naughty step. My husband went to talk to her and she said I was asking for it. He got her to come and say sorry, which she refused to do, so as her dad told me to handle her punishment, I banned her from her iPad for the evening but told her she could still play with her toys. She stamped her feet, "It's not fair" etc. So her dad picked her up and rocked her like a baby, saying what a good girl she was and how I was mean. I saw red here. I told him it's out of line to overrule me and he was putting me in a really bad position and then calling me mean in front of her. He refused to talk about it further and she sulked all evening on his lap. After bedtime my husband started shouting in my face saying I don't want his daughter around and that he'll raise his daughter the way he wants. She's always been our daughter and I'm the one who does everything with her. This really hurt me. I said fine and told he can do it all now if he's such a perfect parent, but he will need to put his phone down. To be honest, he's never been a present father. He arranges to go out alone when S is here and has always expected me to babysit. Even with the fatigue from the virus and morning sickness, I'm still expected to be her sole parent. When he's there he just sits on his phone on Facebook and games. He ignores us, and when I'm at work he just sticks her on her iPad and doesn't talk to her. I've come home before to find she hasn't had a drink, and when she was in nappies he'd leave her in the same one all day. I think I might be the idiot for being too harsh and possibly overstepping. I fear I'm an evil stepmother. Not the idiot in the least. The big idiot is your husband. She is his child, not yours, and he should be the parent when she is with you. There needs to be boundaries in your household that you and your husband agree to, and your husband not you, needs to be the enforcer. You are being set up as the evil stepmother by your husband. Not the idiot. Wow. I went in expecting you to be overly harsh with someone else's kid, but wow. Your husband and his ex are horrible parents to this child. She needs stability and rules, and you seem to be the only one giving them. You're going to make a great mother, and I would very much rethink your relationship with that man. He shows no interest in actually being a father. Not the idiot. That man is not a parent. At all. And you're having a child with him and still staying with him? This is only going to get worse. You need to get out while you can and find a real father figure for your unborn child.